To the thrilling world of Security Squawk, where we explore cybersecurity. Guiding you through online threats, we'll aid you in understanding safety protocols and trends. Meet our gurus, Bryan from Exact IT, Reginald from Arc Solvers, and Randy from Tech Rescue. Together, we'll delve into current events and hot cybersecurity topics, helping you comprehend their impact. Stay informed, stay secure. Security Squawk, the business of cybersecurity. Buckle up, let's dive in.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Security Squawk. I am your co-host, Bryan, here with Andre and Randy. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
What's going on?
Good, man. Not a whole lot. Got a lot to cover. We're going to jump right into it because we only have 28 minutes, right, Andre? Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. Yes, I have a 2 o'clock, and I want to.
I have my sands of time running here, so I stay on track. So we're going to jump right into it because there's a lot to talk about. First thing we're going to jump into, guys, is this change healthcare that's going to lead into a discussion in a little bit about, you know, what caused the change healthcare. But let's get into this event that happened with this. I guess it's a pharmaceutical chain. Is that what we're dealing with here, right? So there's been a cyber attack targeting Change Healthcare, which is a subsidiary of United Health Group. This attack, which began on Wednesday and was ongoing by Friday, has led to prescription delays and disruptions at various pharmacies across the U.S. United Health Group identified the perpetrator as a suspected nation-state associated cybersecurity threat actor who gained access to Change Healthcare's IT systems. In response, the company quickly isolated the impacted systems to prevent further damage. Despite the disruptions, United Health Group assures that the rest of its systems are operational and the issue seems confined to Change Healthcare. Major pharmacies like CVS, Walgreens reported being affected, although Walgreens noted that the vast majority of prescriptions were not impacted. Other entities, including Publix and GoodRx, also reported disruptions. So, guys, let's get into this. And I don't know how much we want to talk about why this happened, because we're going to talk about kind of why in our next discussion. But it's pretty wild that, you know, here we have another healthcare organization that is dealing with some kind of cyber attack. They really haven't said whether it's ransomware or not.
Right. Yeah, and it's a big deal because the companies that are using this particular software are being affected. In fact, I got a text this morning from an office manager at a doctor's office that we support, saying they haven't been able to write electronic prescriptions because of this particular healthcare system being down. They use it online. It's a portal. So they basically have had to handwrite prescriptions like the old school way, I guess. So there are workarounds for it.
Andre, thoughts?
Well, I'm waiting for that second article to let you know.
you're like, yeah, I can't hold back. I gotta talk about it. So anything in particular, other than the fact that we don't know much, that you guys are picking up on this particular attack, or
yeah, the thing that they mentioned right off the bat is that they suspected a nation state actor.
Right.
I mean, although we shouldn't be surprised with the things going on in the world, it is a little surprising, I guess. That it would be a nation state actor who's, affecting our critical infrastructure. So, I mean, isn't that an act of war? Do you know what I mean? Like, are we just playing around here or what? Anyway, it's that did raise my eyebrows when I read that.
So, Randy, when we were setting up the show today, you mentioned that this whole Change Healthcare thing, and that's, you know, going into our next discussion, the whole Change Healthcare thing was a result of this vulnerability that we're going to talk about next. It's kind of taken our industry by storm a little bit, and this is this ConnectWise ScreenConnect RCE vulnerability alert. And just quickly, ConnectWise, which is a large software provider for IT companies, has issued an urgent warning to administrators of one of its software platforms called ScreenConnect. The warning is related to a critical remote code execution, also known as an RCE flaw, that poses a severe security risk. The flaw is attributed to an authentication bypass weakness, allowing attackers to access sensitive data or execute arbitrary code on vulnerable servers without user interaction. Alongside of this, a path traversal vulnerability was also addressed, albeit requiring high-level privileges to exploit. So, what do we know about, this is that, the ConnectWise vulnerability, but what do we know about the Change Healthcare situation that's related to this?
Well, so it's probably through their MSP, through some sort of, because they're saying internally that they're not a direct customer of ConnectWise. So maybe there's a IT organization that's working with them. Also, I've read that since the what they're seeing is LockBit associated with a lot of these, that there could be something connection there. I'm not sure if that answers your question exactly, but there's still sounds like there's a lot of information we still need to learn about this particular attack. I will say this though, my prediction, probably all y'all are thinking the same thing. What was the big vulnerability of the last like year and a half? It was the Move It software. And, multiple times, it was like the vulnerability that keeps on giving. I think this is going to be the Move It software of 2024, is this ConnectWise ScreenConnect. And it just also really underlines how important it is for IT companies to be as extremely secure as they can, because that's where we're seeing a lot of attacks come. Because if they can break into an IT company or an IT company provider, then they can get into more than one customer typically. So a lot of high concern there.
Yeah, and this is when it's important, because when it came out for us, of course, we saw it on our blogs that we follow, but we also had our SOC team now do a scan on all of our computers to see if this particular version was running. And we do some co-managed work where we're like the hands and feet of the client, but then they have their tools, we have our tools, and so forth like that. And they gave us a list of clients that we actually need to go to present this, to say, well, more to us, to then say, hey, you have the software, you need to do the update, you need to do the patch. So just kind of, because I can even remember me doing assessments on clients' computers and so forth. And when we do the audit, we see that there's old RMM tools, remote management tools. We see all of things that just are lingering, that for whatever reason, it was just always hard to remove, or somebody was being lazy, or whatever the case is. So this just goes to show you that you should not be managing your IT by yourself. And you need, people like us that can be able to help identify these things and action. Did you guys see that YouTube video where it was like a showdown, and it kind of showed how many these ScreenConnects servers that were still, but it wasn't I think I want to say like 6,000 if I wasn't.
It was 7,600.
Wow.
Okay, all right, yeah.
7,600, and at the time that the article came out that we were looking at in the green room, only 160 had been updated.
Wow.
So there's a lot of ScreenConnect servers that are vulnerable right now.
Wow.
Which, what does that mean for, what do we know doing this show for so long? Like, that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks to 3-4 months, right? As they blow through and try to, impact as many organizations that fail. I mean, we know that these servers most of them are not going to get patched. And, we know that ConnectWise is also, going out there and saying that they're going to revoke the licenses of anybody who doesn't upgrade as a precaution or as a necessary measure as a result of this. Because if you're not going to do your part and update your systems, and they're just going to disable your server so it can't be used to exploit other computers out there, right? Because ConnectWise is a remote control access tool. Like, you have complete control over the system when you have this software on the computers. So this is what IT companies use to remote into your computer to administer your systems. So it's a big deal. If somebody gets a hold of this, they can do a lot of damage, number one. Number two, it's a smart move on ConnectWise part, to do this, to disable these servers and disable these licenses. But I don't know if that's like a silver bullet to the problem, right? It disables the server, but what about all the endpoints that have an agent on them? Could they potentially be exploited somehow, some way? So I also think it was a business move on ConnectWise's part, because it's obviously been out there that they are looking to be purchased or merged. And I would imagine that a black eye like this would not do well for their valuations. So
Might make that go down. You mentioned at the beginning when you were reading about the flaw, you mentioned path traversal. And then what you were reading said, but you have to have admin access, but you can do remote code execution. So you could just create an admin, and then that admin could do path traversal, correct? So is that really do we really need to separate? I mean, that's probably outside the scope of the show, but it just seems like somebody that's creative just a little bit could get access to the path traversal as well.
We have to have admin access to the operating system.
It seems like the remote code execution, you could run code to make new
admin. Yeah, that's probably true. Yes. So, I mean, if assuming ScreenConnect agent is on that host, right, and can be remoted into. All right. Anything else on this, guys, before we move on to looks like LoanDepot is next up on the docket. All good?
All good.
All right. Let's move right along. The LoanDepot. So a January ransomware attack on LoanDepot, a leading loan and mortgage company, confirmed that sensitive personal information, including your precious social security number, was exposed of nearly 17 million customers. It was
you said precious?
Your precious social security number.
My social security number is public at this point.
So initially reported to federal regulators as affecting only 16.6 million customers, the breach extent broadened, encompassing names, dates of birth, contact details, financial account numbers, and more. The incident left many customers unable to access their accounts or make payments for weeks, highlighting the growing trend of cyber attacks on financial institutions, especially big mortgage companies. And LoanDepot anticipates a financial hit of 12 to 17 million in the first quarter due to the breach, marking a significant impact on its operations. So that's about $1 a customer. I might do my math. Probably end up being more than that at the end of the day. That's my prediction.
Yeah, much more.
And this is as usual. These are huge. You said precious, and we did make the joke, that it's already all public. Yes, but probably is, but still, releasing of social security numbers is That's a big black eye, after this attack we already talked about. I think it was last month, right, when this happened. Big black eye. So
I was trying to find the original article when we talked about it, because typically they say nothing to see here, but I couldn't find that in this case.
Yeah. So anything else on this, guys, other than 17 million people's information's out there, a little 500,000 more than they thought a week ago or so. This is just crazy how much information's out there on individuals today. And again, there's a lot of people out there that, I heard somebody the other day say that basically that their clientele, and they service a low end clientele of businesses, that basically they're and I would just want to ask you if you guys agree with this kind of thought process. But they basically said that they don't need to worry about protecting data for their clients. Data doesn't matter, because if anybody got it, they wouldn't be able to do anything with it anyway. Meaning that their credit is so bad, and they're they really just don't have any money. So if their identity was stolen, it's not like anybody could do anything with it. So that's one side of the coin, and one person that I've heard say that to me. The other side of it is I think in this 17 million, there's definitely people who have good credit, who make money, who can absolutely 100%, be victims of some massive identity fraud and theft. So that's just stating not all 17 million of these people have poor credit and things like that, where you can't do anything with their information if you had it. But what are your thoughts on that? Is that a safe thought process? Just because you have maybe bad credit, you can't be scammed?
That's a poor man's mindset.
Right. So
it's no different than we've talked to business owners before. They're like, oh, if we get phished or if we get breached or whatever, we'll just close down shop and open up with a new name. It doesn't work that way. And also, there are probably, of these 17 million, probably the majority of them are making good money. Just because they have bad credit doesn't mean they don't have money coming through. And because they can, maybe you can't go open something in their name, although you're going to find accounts that'll let you have low credit and open up something in your name. They can still scam you for things. And what we're seeing a lot of is emails that are coming through that are so dialed down because of all the information that's available out there to AI. And they're so personalized. So this is going to just add to that. Doesn't matter if you have bad credit. Everybody has something that somebody wants to steal. Even if you're making $12,000 a year and have horrible credit and you think, oh, I'm not worth anything, that $12,000 a year is still better than probably 75% of the people on the planet make. And so you're still a target, even if you're making $12,000 a year.
Yeah. Any more thoughts, Andre? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
All right, guys. Next article up on the docket that I have is this LockBit. Surprise, surprise. They are back. Let me grab my show notes here. As I mentioned, because was it Alpha V was the last one that was taken down? Is that right?
I think so.
And I was saying that LockBit's already back up, and they were taken down in December, and they're back. Kind of, the word on the street is they're back and kind of better than ever. At least their infrastructure, and it's going to be harder for them to be taken down this time, apparently. But LockBit ransomware, after a brief disruption by law enforcement, which hacked their servers, announced a resurgence with new infrastructure. The gang is known for its ransomware attacks. They vowed to focus more on government sectors, responding to the takedown of its 34 servers by authorities under Operation Kronos. But despite the loss, LockBit admitted to negligence, particularly in updating PHP, which led to the breach. They plan to enhance their operation security, decentralize their affiliate panels, and introduce manual decryptor releases to minimize future risks. The incident underscores the persistent threat posed by ransomware gangs and the challenges in curbing their activities. So, as my friend Randy always likes to say, it's a cat and mouse game. So let's talk about where we at. Where's the cat and where's the mouse?
Well, they restored their servers. They're back up and they're talking trash. They refer to all government in the whole world as the FBI. And so they're back up and they are saying that, you know, they're doing what they want to do. They're saying they got hacked because they hacked the Fulton County servers, and a lot of information which would affect the outcome of the U.S. election they were able to steal off of those servers. So, so yeah, they're in big trouble because of that. Sounds like, but they updated their PHP and got back online. So they said that it didn't affect their servers that didn't have PHP. So that it was apparently a PHP vulnerability. The note the guy says is he says that he's been making so much money that he got lazy and he didn't.
Not so much money. He's swimming in money.
Yes.
Oh,
he became, yeah.
I mean, how many times have you guys heard me say it on the show that the infrastructure of cyber criminals is just out there? It just works. It's not built with security in mind. And now they're starting to, again, the basics, right? Updating your stuff, making sure that your stuff is up to date, not having an old version of PHP running on your web server. Yeah, you're probably going to get hacked. Not surprised there. So,
and there's another article that talked about in the last 18 months, they've made $125 million in payments. So they're certainly, but you know, I would ask, like, how much is where at some point you're like, all right, I'm done. Let me cash out, put in my chips and like go retire. Like that's how the movies used to be back in the days, right? You know, they get the $5 million, the bank robber goes to Hawaii and just lives his life, and just forget about everything else.
Well, not everybody's motivated by money, right? For some people, it's just a byproduct. Sometimes it's the thrill of the chase.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And whether they can do it or not. And if they say they're going after the government now, moving forward, I would take that as a shot across the bow of probably a lot of law enforcement agencies in the United States, because it's, for these guys, it's payback time, right?
Yeah, that's going to be embarrassing. Remember, we've done some news articles about the actual police agency getting compromised. Yeah.
Multiple times. I remember it happened down in Washington, and they were snitching on snitches.
Right.
Yeah, this is like something right out of a movie, man.
All right, so we're blowing through the topics today, guys. Good job. We have about 5 minutes left before Andre has to go to a big meeting. So why don't we talk about some of these 8 worrying cybersecurity statistics that you need to know about in 2024. I'll just rattle them off here, and we can kind of talk about the ones that, pique your interest.
You want us to just interrupt you when we get to one that catches our eye?
Well, the first one's phishing attacks as a top data breach cause.
Already all knew that.
Surprise, surprise. Lack of awareness among business leaders. That's a good one. A little bit more information. 11% of business leaders were unsure if their company experienced a data breach in 2023.
How do you not know?
highlighting the need for, again, if you don't have a conversation with the cybersecurity professional and you choose to bury your head in the sand.
Yep.
Because that's what they're doing.
Yep.
And it's not really highlighting a need for better visibility. It's forcing business leaders to take this stuff seriously. Like, the reason business leaders are saying they're unsure is because they pretend dumb. They plead dumb. And then, because when something bad happens, they can just say, I didn't know.
Yep.
And that's the game that business leaders are figuring out or being told by somebody to play until the government steps in and tells each industry, you need to start doing this stuff.
I think the repercussions of that, or the downsides of that, is you're losing sleep at night if that's you. If you're just sticking your head in the sand, because I think some of this is also maybe business leaders that are too busy or don't think they can afford to know, but you're losing those unknowns. Like, business leaders crave like knowing things, and they really hate the unknowns. And that unknown of not knowing if you're hacked or not, I guarantee you that's causing you sleep, and it's worth the time and money to get to the bottom of it and have a definitive yes or no.
Yeah, and then talk about data that contradicts one another. You got 11% of business leaders being unsure if their company has even experienced a data breach, but despite the commonality of data breaches, 78% of businesses surveyed did not suffer a data breach in 2023. Well, if you don't have the visibility, how would you know?
Right.
So this is saying that it suggests that robust cybersecurity measures can effectively mitigate risk, which is true, but I don't think companies are investing in those tools to know whether they got breached or not. It did say that 22% of businesses did experience a breach, indicating a substantial risk. I would say it's probably higher than that. But yeah,
that's still 1 out of 4-ish, 1 out of 5-ish did have a breach. That's in 1 year. That's just in last year. So I think we got to be careful about, the 78%, didn't. Wow, that's a great number. No, 22% did, which is, like I said, between 1 and 4 and 1 out of 5 of all businesses that did. And that's a lot. That's a lot of breaches, man. So I'm about to get started. I'm going to take a deep breath.
Increased risk with larger teams. Surprise, surprise. A survey found that businesses with more than 25 employees face a significantly higher risk of a data breach. The likelihood almost triples compared to a small business.
Yep. Cybersecurity 101 right there.
Yep. Cybersecurity impact on business performance. 40% of business leaders believe that cybersecurity threats will highly affect their organization performance in 2024. Underutilization of cybersecurity tools. I said that earlier. A majority of respondents are not using essential cybersecurity tools. 66% are not using password managers. So there you go. Emergence of AI and cybersecurity. Nearly 1/5 of businesses surveyed are incorporating artificial intelligence into their cybersecurity strategies. I would bet to say that that's probably a lot of people just saying that because somebody else had it in their marketing, would be my guess. And don't believe everything that you read. I'll just say that. Confidence in data breach response. More than a quarter of businesses leaders lack confidence in their company's abilities to defend and respond to a data breach. Wow.
26%.
What's that?
That's 26%.
Wow. You got 26% worried that they wouldn't even be able to respond. 78% of those people didn't even get attacked last year, or at least they don't think they did. So these numbers aren't great.
They're not great at all, man. Can you imagine going to bed? That's 1 out of 4 going to bed, almost basically going to bed every night.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because I'm in an office complex, right? And there's probably, 40 businesses around here. So that would be 10 businesses in this, that could be, that will eventually get hit probably in the next 5 years.
And that don't know if they could even respond. And look at the bad guys that we talked about in the last segment. They got back up and rolling in 5 days. A blip.
Yeah, but
started.
something tells me it doesn't take much for them to get up and running.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So, all right, guys, we gotta let
All
Andre
right.
go. He's got a big meeting. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time, and we will see everyone next week. Take care, everyone.